Hi there, and welcome to this special episode 52 of the ADHD Adults podcast, which is the last episode for ADHD Awareness Month 2022. As you it started already, hasn't it?
That wasn't an interruption, it was just added sound effect.
I know, yeah.
It's an audio medium though, isn't it? So
yeah, that's true. Okay, yes. Okay. I've got it now.
Okay. Fucking hell. I'm James Brown, and yet again, because of peer pressure, not as usual, I'm joined by both the man with a head like a vinyl record of the Chuckle Brothers' greatest hits, Dr. Alex Connor, but also by, this is going to be a name now, the most ADHD person ever, let's check, apple of my eye, Mrs ADHD. Start with Alex. Hi, Alex.
it's Thursday, not Monday.
Oh, look at his face.
It's an audio medium, Sam. We can't.
Mrs ADHD. Well, we are on YouTube as well.
Why are we filming this then?
Fuck me. Jesus
Sorry.
Christ. This is not doing my mental. Yes,
Why are we filming this then?
Because it's on YouTube as well.
Oh.
Actually, we have quite a lot of viewers, don't we? It was a joke.
No, we don't.
It was a joke.
Yeah,
sorry, you didn't put your hand up. Like you instructed me to do.
Okay. I meant to say hello to you now, Sam.
Hey.
I've lost. Yeah. Oh God. Lost me. Fucking hell! It's like having two barrels pointing at my face. How are you both? Sam first.
I'm so sorry. I have aspirational pneumonia, the type that you want to get. No, all the time I'm breathing drink into my windpipe, and you can get bacteria in there, and it gives you aspirational pneumonia.
That's what she calls it, Al.
Yeah, if you're going to get pneumonia, you want that one.
I'd love to have that.
Okay,
Let
good.
me pop in your mouth. Does it work like that? Oh no, you'd have to inhale it. Sorry.
Fuck me. Alex, how are you?
I'm excellent, thank you. Yeah, hello both. It's been quite a phenomenal ADHD Awareness Month for us. Sad that it's like at the end, even though I'm knackered. The new Discord forum is now less shit because we've brought in 3 not idiots to help us. Yeah, the videos were really well received. We did, and we've been sent a letter, James, from someone.
Can I guess where it's from, Al?
Yeah,
That's right.
It's from Robert from Kidderminster.
Is it?
It says, "Dear team, James has tried to have me euthanized again, but he went to the wrong hospital. Can someone please help?" Robert, he's just awful. I've been sent a real letter.
Well, go on then. Actually, he isn't very well at the moment. You do know that he's not very well.
That's why you did that joke, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing that he's
still dying.
It's amazing that he's still able to write letters in the state that he's in, isn't it? But go on, this real letter, Al.
A real letter from Milana, who wrote, "Hello, how are you both? I'm loving your podcast and all the amazing advice and information you're giving for those with ADHD. I especially love the banter and piss-taking between you. It makes me chuckle to myself like a loony walking around in public with my earphones in. I got my official diagnosis last week, congratulations, at the age of 41 on the NHS after a 2-year wait.
Wow.
So not long compared to many others. It's quite a long time. I found your podcast by the ADHD AF, as females girls, and between the 4 of you, you're really helping me to understand myself and ADHD more and helping me accept myself as someone with ADHD. I'm playing my husband certain bits too, so it's also helping him understand ADHD more. He already understands that I'm a bit off my head, but just accepts that's who I am. Your podcast is helping him understand why I do the things the way I do them. Thanks for your podcasts and playlists and all the information you share. Keep up the great work. It's really helpful." Thanks for that, Alan. I really appreciate it. I don't know this ADHD as females we talked about today. James, I can't even do this joke. Laura and Dawn would kill us, and if they did their army.
And they're wonderful. We love them.
Yeah, we do. We absolutely love them. Hello, everyone. There. And we're growing internationally, James. 130 countries we've got up by one. We think the new one is, I don't know,
I mean, magically again, it's grown by exactly one country since the previous episode. It's astonishing that the rate at which we grow internationally seems to be perfectly aligned with the number of episodes we release, doesn't it?
James, we are, of course, both bewildered and
Outrage.
grateful to all our listeners. It's like we'd like to say, I don't know, Ola.
Oh, thank fuck, thank fuck, you've not actually done the international hello. Brilliant. So, as you may have heard, if you listened to Monday's episode, this fucking shambolic clusterfuck of a podcast usually is a tragedy in 3 parts. But again, today we're throwing away the script, but clearly, as you would have heard on Monday, there is still a script because Mrs ADHD managed to misread it and Alex managed to not listen to parts of it. But we're throwing away the structure and we're going to carry on talking about these persistent myths that are really quite damaging for people with ADHD. We think this is important for ADHD Awareness Month to kind of bookend it. And we started off with talking about communicating ADHD, and this is actually related because we need to, particularly if we have social power, challenge these myths, challenge the stigma so we can help people that maybe don't have that social power feel a little bit less diminished. I'm going to hate this, aren't I? So, Alex, remind us why we're doing this and then bore us with the first myth.
Okay, so remember that stigma from outside and inside, misinformation are damaging to us and the people that support us, to people with ADHD. And there are some really persistent, false, but damaging myths out there. So, who are you going to call?
Ghostbusters!
Thank you, James. I did a Ghostbuster Mythbusters. He flamed me. James, I did a Ghostbuster Mythbuster mashup joke. Did you like it, James? I went to see Ghostbusters at the cinema. I think that was the last time I went. Anywho, Sam, kick us off, will you? What's myth 1 of 6?
ADHD. Sorry, I forgot that there were things I had to read from a page. ADHD,
don't read them. They're bullet points that you read earlier.
No.
I haven't read anything. But I've read it now. ADHD is overdiagnosed. Oh,
okay.
There's more.
Tell us about that myth, Sam. Let's see if we can bust that myth rather than just state it, which reinforces it, and then move on to the next one.
I'm so sorry. Okay. Around 90% of cases in adults are likely undiagnosed. Diagnosis rates have increased because people actually know it's a thing now, because there's been more awareness raised about it. Even psychiatrists doubted it was a real 10 years ago. James is a cock.
Alex, you fucker. You absolute fucker. He's put that in the... You're like Ron Burgundy, Sam.
Yeah,
you just
like
read
Anchorman.
You just read the tele.
You just wrote that. Script.
He's just added
Did
it.
you?
Fuck's sake. Should we talk about this myth then, Alex? What are your thoughts on ADHD being overdiagnosed?
It's the one that, as you well know, James, because we're writing an article for newspaper on it right now. It pisses us off. It's underdiagnosed massively. You can just look at the NHS's released prescription levels. What do they prescribe? If you're diagnosed with ADHD, the best thing you can do, as long as you can handle the side effects, is have stimulant medication. Look at the prescriptions of it. I looked at the maths, James, and added it up, and it's fuck all. It's a quarter.
Is that a mathematical term in calculus or statistics, Al?
It is, yeah. It's frigonometry.
From fuck all to
Frigonometry. I like the sound of that.
It's a 0.25%, and in adults it's 2.5% of people. So demonstrably, it's either not diagnosed or it's not treated. And I'll tell you, spoiler alert, it's both. And in children, it's up to 5%, maybe more. And so that 0.25% medicated, that's some bullshit right there.
It is. Again, speaking to a psychiatrist friend of mine about the rates of diagnosis when you get to the assessment. So remember, you've got all these barriers. First of all, you've got to convince the GP, unless you pay to go private, which is just a minefield. And so many people are getting in touch saying, well, I paid to go private and now my GP won't accept or sign a shared care agreement, because there are so many private clinics actually that will just tell you, yeah, we'll give you a diagnosis and not say, but you probably won't get meds for free after that. I spoke to a psychiatrist friend about the rates of diagnosis or positive diagnosis when you get to that assessment, you've got through all these barriers, your GP's referred you, you see a psychiatrist, and about 9 out of 10 people that get to that point get their diagnosis. Because to get past that first barrier, you've clearly got to have the symptoms of ADHD. And the assessment really is about just working out, is there anything else that's causing those symptoms? So really, the overdiagnosis thing, I can understand. All of a sudden, there's lots of people who are getting a diagnosis, but that's just because it's on our fucking radar as a society, and therefore more people are seeking a diagnosis, but it definitely is not overdiagnosed.
It's not on that 9 out of 10, James. As you know, I love the papers. That's not just us. It's not just private. It's not just NHS. There's a Canadian study that found the same 94%. There's a Korean study that found the same numbers. Of course, once you've got to that level, you've probably got ADHD. They wouldn't refer you really if you're not very likely to have it.
No. Anybody watching on YouTube, by the way, just watch Mrs ADHD. If there was like a video version of a dictionary, there would just be a picture of Sam next to ADHD. She cannot sit still at all, can you?
I've got myself covered up, so I can't see. I hate seeing myself, so I've got myself covered up on the screen, so I don't know what I'm doing.
I have as well.
I was about to say, it's a shame I can't. I've got to look at both of you, which seems like torture. Okay,
right, I'm going back to Sam for a myth, please.
Oh, wow. Really? Are you sure?
No. Yeah. Are you sure, Alex?
Oh, no. No.
Oh, I was better than you for one time in my life, Al.
Can I also just point out that I'm the one that hasn't taken their medication? You two probably are medicated.
Yeah.
And both, let's put this bluntly, fucking useless.
That's ableist, I think. I'm useless in spite of my ADHD. Sorry.
Yes. So Alex, it's your turn if you ever pay attention or read the script.
Okay, although it is in line with what we were just saying, isn't it? So there's a myth, there's a bullshit that ADHD was created by the pharma industry, by pharmaceutical companies to sell medication. Right. I mean, listen to what James said, if you can bear it, in the last episode. This isn't a new disorder. It's been around since the 18th century. He said 17th, but he meant 1700.
No, I said 1775.
Oh, shit, did you? I wasn't listening.
Yeah, I think so.
It's been around for centuries.
Yeah.
It really has. And most work done was after encephalitis bouts in America in the early 20th century. This wasn't drug company work. The other thing is, unlike many, many psychiatric disorders, for most of us, I would say, at least many of us, these drugs blooming work.
They really do.
They really, really do. And for, not for everything with ADHD, but, they're not magic, but for helping you concentrate on things you want to concentrate on. And for maybe sometimes reducing your stress, depending on the cause of your stress, they work. People who are medication hesitant, everyone knows I am as well now. I fully respect it. They're a chemical you put in your body, and that's never a safe thing to do. But everything is a chemical. That's it.
No, it is. So I want to start with that last bit. Everything's a chemical. There are quite a few people that have got in touch, and I absolutely respect this. Is everybody's personal choice. But there are people out there selling supplements for ADHD. There are people out there who obviously want to not go down the pharmaceutical route because there is this really weird dichotomous belief that a chemical that you buy that's unregulated off Amazon and comes from a plant is different from a chemical that you get prescribed, which has gone through rigorous clinical testing and has known side effects and known interactions with other things. And it's weird how for some people, the supplement, that's fine. The drug, both chemicals, that's not fine. And I get this personal choice, but again, it's sharing that with people and saying, these medications are terrible. There was an article in The Guardian by a journalist who talked about her medication journey, and that article will have put a lot of people off going on medication. And I think it's really important. Again, just consider everybody. If you genuinely believe you don't want to go on meds, that's absolutely fine. If you believe that there are other things that you can do, exercise, omega-3s don't really work, etc., then that's fine. But please don't go out there saying to other people, these things work. You should be microdosing, mushrooms. Now, there are clinical studies looking at microdosing mushrooms, and there are a couple of studies which have reported self-reported improvements, but that's not robust evidence, and therefore,
no, it's exciting potential.
It is, and therefore that kind of everything's a chemical and don't trust drugs. It's something that doesn't resonate with me, and I understand it, but just please don't tell other people that, because for 80% of people, the prescribed medication works. And for 70% of people, it's the stimulants that work. So, as Alex said, it works, and we know the mechanism of how it works. That helps us explain the fact that it's real. And pharmaceutical companies, yes, they have taken drugs like methylphenidate, which in its cheapest form is fuck all, £3 a month, and created slow release versions which they can make more money from. But they just work. They were late to the party, really, when you look at the history from the 18th century, Al, of ADHD. Pharmaceutical companies came in the 60s and afterwards in terms of using stimulants with children. So they're late to the party. It's absolutely not created by pharmaceutical companies.
I was just thinking on that whole big pharma thing and not wanting to support big pharma that make loads of money. Those same people probably buy their supplements from Amazon.
Yeah.
Loads of money, like supporting big fucking Bezos. Actually, it's not him anymore, is it? Big Bezos.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Big,
I don't know where I've got that from. Sorry,
the
carry
pocket
on.
of Big Bezos.
Big fucking Bezos. Although I would like to be in the pocket of Big Bezos, unlike big, cheap timer cap.
Yeah,
right. I'm going back to you, Sam, now, because I've definitely read the order.
Have I done anything? Shall I just go and make a cup of tea?
Ages.
Yeah, but I haven't had a myth yet, have I, for fuck's sake?
Oh, haven't you?
Anyway, back to Sam. Go on, Sam, give us one.
Hi. This myth is medication will turn you into a robot. I'm currently medicated.
Can you just for a second? Can you imagine in all the films, and a film is a moving version of a book, Alex. In all the films that have contained, robots, I don't think any of them have been less useful than Sam is now, medicated. So we can stop this myth there, really, that medication will turn you into a robot. It might turn you into a shit robot that just bumps into walls and doesn't do anything. But anyway, Sam.
So I don't know, you might all know, I don't know, you might not. I've recently started medication. I'm up to 40 milligrams now of lisdexamfetamine, and I keep saying to James, it's not doing anything, I can't feel it. And he keeps saying, you're not supposed to feel it, but there will be. So I'm like, I don't know. I thought it'd be like the 90s when I was raving.
Coming up.
Be able to, yeah, exactly. But I can't feel anything. And I can't, and I don't notice any difference in myself. That's how subtle it is. I don't really notice. I feel a bit tired when it starts to kick in, but that's literally it. But if I really, 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 really concentrate, I can quieten my brain down, and I can actually focus on a task. So
just to add to that, obviously Sam has ADHD and not good. We don't have good metacognition. We don't think about how we think. So Sam, what she said there is utter bullshit. At first, she couldn't feel it, and I had to report to her saying, "No, you're working. I can see you sitting on your laptop working." Whereas last week you were lying on your phone, playing whatever it is you play on your phone. And actually, when she got up to 40, she said to me, "Was it yesterday or the day before? I'm doing work and I'm enjoying it. This is brilliant." So just to clarify Sam's point that she can't feel anything and it's very subtle, it's just utter bollocks, actually, because less than 24 hours ago, she told me that it's utterly changed her approach to work. Fuck's sake.
James, A, you can't tell someone what they feel, but B, I want to concur that it is utter bollocks what she says.
Yeah.
I stayed over at your house last week and she told me for the first time ever, she got stiff shoulders from actually working for a period of time.
No, but I still don't feel any different.
No, that's it, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's sneaky. It tricks you into working and you enjoy it. For like, what the fuck? And before you realise it, you're like, I've been working like all day.
Oh God, that's terrible, isn't it? It's terrible. It's terrible that it allows you to be a functioning human being. It tricks you into being a functioning human being.
Sneaky, it's really sneaky.
I can feel it though. I can feel the focus. And yeah, sometimes I like distractions and I miss them. And so just sometimes Liz Dex makes me feel a bit like it's too focusy.
Right. No, I still get distracted. I still forget everything. I'm still hyperactive. I'm still everything.
Yeah,
but
me too. Yeah.
I can
Right.
concentrate if I need to.
So I'm name dropping psychiatrists in these 2 episodes. So
Yeah, you
one
really
of
are.
my psychiatrist friends I was talking to about this, as I was mentioning
How many have you
Sam's
got?
friend, 2.
Sorry.
Yeah. So well, 2.5. The third one's all right.
Or really short. It's not clear.
Yes. This is a Nick. He's the psychiatrist who is also a qualified GP who is going to come on and talk to us about routes to diagnosis. When I was talking about this, when he got titrated, he said that it doesn't take away all those things. It just makes you a more functional person.
Yeah.
So when you go onto medication, as Sam, when she first started a dose, said, I expected it to cure me, which it's not going to do. The medication will not stop you having ADHD. You'll still have poor working memory. You'll still occasionally, have emotional outbursts and all the things that come with ADHD, but you will likely be a more functional person and you will see improvements in those areas, probably.
Yeah. I'm happier as well.
Oh, thank fuck for that.
Yeah. As well, not all drugs that treat ADHD are stimulants. So some antidepressants can be used. Ow.
Yeah.
One's licensed and others are off license.
Yeah.
You can get them off license.
That was just to elaborate on Sam's elegantly delivered, not at all read from a poorly written script line there is again, a lot of people would probably be okay with taking antidepressants. I mean, I think more people, there's a difference between the approach to antidepressants, whether it's for anxiety or depression, than there is to ADHD meds. It's weird that people don't talk as much about, depression's been invented by pharmaceutical companies to sell Prozac, but ADHD has been, and that again it's a weird thing, and all of this, and Alex mentioned this in his terribly delivered second myth, all of this leads to medication hesitancy. And that's important because, as we said, medication works for most of us. And the amount of people that I've spoken to through the chat, I'm just talking because I haven't had a myth to do. I need to fucking contribute to this podcast in some way. Lots of people have got in touch and said, I don't want to take the medication. I just want the diagnosis. And again, personal choice, that's completely fine. But I think a lot of this, and it was in my case, it was the same in Alex's, it wasn't in Sam. It's speed. She lapped it up.
No, I was hesitant at first.
At which point you immediately went on.
Yeah, but that was later on. So initially, years ago, when I decided to go for a diagnosis, I was saying, yeah, I'm going to go for diagnosis, but I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to tell anybody, and I'm not going to take any medication. And then I saw how it's very, very slightly improved you. No, it's true. And I thought, actually, this is maybe worth a bash. It's true. And then I was lapping the speed up.
It's not good enough for that. It won't make you do accountancy or whatever. Accountancy, will it? That's the problem.
It won't make you do anything, really.
Yeah.
And I can still focus on the wrong thing.
Yeah, that's also true. You still have to, and it works much better in combination with adjunct therapy, preferably CBT or similar, as well. Right, I'm going to do another myth. Does anybody mind?
Oh, I thought of one thing about the other one. I don't know if it was important or not. No, I was just thinking when you were saying about, because people think it's invented by Big Pharma. You're right with the depression thing. You don't even have to say you've got depression, and they're throwing antidepressants at you, which for a lot of people don't even work. But there's no uproar about that, saying, depression's not a real thing. It's just to sell medication.
They used to say that, didn't they, about Prozac?
Oh, did they?
Okay. Just to clarify the thought process there, you said out loud, there's something I want to say. Then you said out loud, oh, actually, no, I don't think it's important. And then you said it anyway.
Yeah, I do that a lot.
I know, I live with you. Brilliant. Alex, I believe I haven't done a myth still, have I? Alex, I believe you're next.
Right, so myth 4/9, depending on how we're counting. ADHD is the result of bad parenting. So in my case, this is true. That is specifically from my mum, who feels so guilty that I've got ADHD and she didn't spot it, and that Jules is, has traits as well. And there's no way she could have known that. That in my case, it's true. That's for you, Mum. I had that. But in other cases, it's in every case, it's just bollocks. Just look at the genetics of it. 70-80% heritability, which means in 70 to 80% of cases there is a genetic element. Doesn't mean 1 in 4 of us will have it from a parent. You look at the effects of trauma or toxic insult on your body, whatever that means. There's lots of things it can mean. If you look at genes plus environment, that means shit goes wrong. That's how development of the human form works.
Yeah.
Many parents find it a real struggle to accept that their children, even if those children are fully grown adults, have a neurodivergent condition. I struggle with my own kids. The thought, it just makes you feel like, oh my God, it's going to be hard for them. And then if you feel blamed or targeted for that you're somehow responsible, it can be incredibly damaging. And that blame and that target comes from all of these, I can't even say flipping myths that we're trying to debunk. It simply isn't the result of bad parenting. It's a heritable neurodevelopmental disorder that you just need to support. Yeah. Right. Has anybody got any thoughts on that? ADHD bad parenting?
So obviously, Sam and I aren't parents, and we don't have children with ADHD. And my parents, when I told them about my ADHD, were indifferent, I suppose. But again, from the amount of people that we get messages from and people that I coach, it's so common. And particularly, as I say, in grown adults, that when people first either say, I think I've got it, and mention to their parents, it's so common that they just get absolutely gaslit. Is that the right term? Just like, no, you haven't. Of course you haven't. Not at all.
Yeah.
And for the first thing that makes you do is question whether you have, obviously, because parents can remember what you were like as kids, and you're already probably kind of thinking I've got it, but not sure. But equally, when people then get a diagnosis and disclose it to their parents, a lot of people will report that they just get a negative reaction, and it's absolutely because of that myth, that persistent myth that it's naughty children, it's bad parenting, and that leads to this. There was an Instagram post by a woman who was famous on television for putting children on the naughty step a few years back. And her post said, we shouldn't be labeling these children who are naughty. Naughty children should be dealt with in a different way. And she mentioned ADHD. We shouldn't be, labeling these children as ADHD, because if they're just naughty children, they need to be parented better. She obviously didn't say anything like that because I can't remember it, but it was vaguely along those lines. It's utter bollocks. It is. It's utter bollocks. And again, somebody with that level of, well, I suppose she hasn't got a celebrity anymore. It's fucking Z-list, didn't she? But someone that used to have celebrity taking that position publicly and saying, it's, don't label kids, they're naughty, we need to parent them better. It's just going to add to that fucking that persistent belief that it's down to bad parenting. That's what I wanted to add, and it took me too long.
Yeah, I've got my friend, I was going to say a name then, but maybe I shouldn't, I don't know. But she's got a child with ADHD, and all of her family refuse to believe that this child has ADHD, and that she's just a bad parent. And, she feels bad enough as it is without that. And she'd taken her child off medication for the school holidays, thinking, I'll give her a bit of a break. Yeah. And she thought she was doing her a favor. And then when she put her back on medication, her child said, oh God, it's so much quieter. It's just, and then she said, I feel really bad because I thought I was giving her a break from it, but actually it helped her. But it's really frustrating that for her family, they all think, why are you giving her medication? You just need to be a better parent. And that's bullshit.
You're going to create, again, these robots like you, Sam, it's not the case. My mum said when she'd reflected on it, because obviously at first it's difficult because you blame yourself. But she did say famously, well, I knew something wasn't right. Really like that. Right.
Obvious.
Okay. We last and final myth of this two-parter, this double.
Oh, that would be me then.
Trista. No, it's not.
Oh, fuck it, James. Oh, go on then. Go on then.
So I get one. Oh, brilliant. I get a go. Brilliant. Right. The last myth we're going to cover is one of the most annoying ones, in my opinion, and that is that people with ADHD just need to try harder. that we're kind of, you know, we're lazy. We're just not putting in the same amount of effort as people with that ADHD. So obviously the first response to that is fuck off. You know, try harder. Having ADHD is a bit like, I've got to check this with Alex because he likes this kind of, is it Sisyphus, Al, who pushed the rock up the, yeah. Having ADHD, I know, having ADHD feels a bit like Sisyphus, who was punished and forced to push a rock up a hill and then it would fall back down. So for the whole of existence, he'd be pushing this rock up a hill and fall it back down. That's what ADHD is like for us. Every day we're pushing that fucking rock up that hill, trying to be functional, trying to keep our job, trying to keep our relationship, although why I do, I don't know. Every day, working hard just to try and get by. Try harder. You may as well say, and I've heard this several times, have you tried making a list? Which is literally the fucking first thing that everybody with ADHD does, and it's the first thing that fails. It's about as useful as that, saying, try harder. We try hard. Fuck off. We try hard all the time. Sometimes that trying hard is just to get out of bed, or to open our emails, or to clean, to empty the dishwasher, to clean the house. It's hard for us to just do basic things at times. So don't. What do you mean? What, something I can do basic things relatively easily? Or is it a joke about not being hard?
Yeah, no, it's hard for you to do basic things.
Didn't land, mate, joke. Didn't land at all.
I'll just explain it some more.
If you could, or if you could just practice for the next time you're on. And raise your hand when you make a joke, so we know, obviously.
Sorry, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So, you know, put this down because it makes me laugh. We try hard all the time. You know, try eating a dime bar with no fucking teeth. That's what it's like. It's difficult to do the basic things that some people are enjoyable or functional when you can't do it. So we are trying hard every fucking minute of every day.
It's not that we don't want to do it. We want to do it more than you want us to. It drives me mad. My mother-in-law said, "Oh, perhaps my husband's got it as well." When she asked me about it, and I explained what it was like, and I said, "Well, you know, he's really happy doing work that he has to do for 4 or 5 hours at a time every day." And she said, "Well, yeah, but he's got more willpower than you." I saw the kind of panic in the eyes and the backtrack. Is it not willpower? It was very funny. It definitely doesn't listen to this.
Better than you.
Yes, it's simply better. I really like the description, mainly because I came up with it in my head. It feels to me like everyone else has got an internal PA, and I don't have that. So, you know, like, or a butler or something, and I don't have that internal PA.
See what you did there.
And I don't know how everybody else has.
I bet you've had a PA inside you, haven't you, Al?
You have.
I need to tell people that Sam is a PA. That is, I mean, it would be a really good trail for our episode on Peggy.
That is possibly that's a new low, I think, really, in terms of the tone for the podcast. Thanks for that, Sam. So let's have some finishing thoughts. Why am I inviting myself into this? So if you think about all the myths we've covered, which you'll have forgotten most of, I know what Alex is going to say. How do these myths make you feel? We'll start with Alex.
I'm not reading that off the script.
Well, can you say fucking something then?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah,
it's a really good question. Do you know what they mostly make me feel? They make me feel ashamed and fraudulent. Like I have to justify that I'm not able to do things that I really want to do that other people seem to be able to do. And I go red, I flush with embarrassment at how shit I am. And the myths enforce that massively to explain to my lovely wife why I can't go somewhere with her and sit there and be quiet and sensible. It makes me ashamed. That's what it makes me feel, James. Not sexy, as I wrote on the script.
Yes, and on my script it says fat. So these myths make me feel fat, which, considering I've got an eating disorder, I think is a particularly hateful
appropriate.
and appropriate response. How does it make me feel? I think you can guess. Fucking angry, really fucking angry. I'm not a particularly angry man unless I'm driving a car. I'm not. I'm only angry with you, you cock. But with most people, I'm a delight. I'm a fucking delight, Alex.
Have a Snickers.
But yeah, it makes me actually want to punch people in the throat. These myths. It gets me to that level of anger because I know the pain that I've been through at points in my life. I know the pain that other people are going through right now.
Yeah.
And therefore, any of these ridiculously persistent, damaging myths, which diminish those people's experience, which stop people going for a diagnosis, which damage their relationships because their partners don't believe that ADHD is real, their partners think that they should just try harder. It fucking ruins people's lives and it makes me angry. Sam, what are your feelings about these myths? Mrs ADHD, rather.
Myths. Well, I'm trying to remember what they all were. But for me, actually, what it does is I feel really shit about myself anyway.
Yeah.
And these myths, actually, even though I know that they're not true, I hear them and think, do you know what? They're probably right.
So do I.
It probably is because I don't try hard enough, or I'm shit, and it just feeds into my insecurities and makes me think, oh, fuck yeah, you're right. I am just fucking useless. I've made this whole thing up. Haven't got ADHD. I'm just using it as an excuse.
Yeah.
Now I've convinced myself again that that's actually true.
You do this for those. I was about to say for those that don't live with us, which is everybody in the world.
Yeah.
But Sam does that thing which many of us do, which is kind of forget she's got ADHD and she'll go up and down between the medication's working, this is great, the medication is doing nothing, as we've covered in these episodes. But she will also, flip between absolute acceptance that she's got ADHD, and then maybe I am just shit and lazy, etc. And if myths are doing that again, it makes me angry.
No, it's really harsh. I'm feeling, useless, and this idea that she hasn't got ADHD. The two are unrelated.
Yeah, I mean, she was useless well before she got diagnosed. Well before
I can't make that joke, Sam. It's not true. I take it back. No time for the game today.
Yeah, well, I kind of had a game, but I've made it up in between recordings, so there isn't time for a game. So apologies for people that love the game. We will get back to having it, largely, obviously, just because it annoys Alex in the next episode. I've
written down loads of things I'd forgotten and not done as well.
Yeah, but you didn't do it in the right format, did you, Sam? You made a list of things you'd forgotten. You didn't do a game. You made a list.
I've got like a long list of things just in the last few days.
Have you listened to the podcast before?
Yes.
No.
I've listened to everyone.
Yeah, so you understand how the game works, don't you? It's not, okay, Alex, here's 8 things I forgot this week.
To be honest, it snuck up on me.
What's your favourite?
Snuck up on me.
Anyway, thank you. If you've managed to get through both of these episodes in the last week of ADHD Awareness Month, I salute you, because they've been fucking awful. Easily the worst episodes we've done. Utterly shambolic. Utterly shambolic. And for me,
it's like our Discord channel, chaos.
It is like and that's a good segue into us talking about that.
It's not a good segue.
No, it's not, is it? So that was episode 52 of the ADHD Adults podcast, where we were joined by Mrs ADHD. And it was the other end of a double fister, where we hopefully at least again tried to dispel or diffuse maybe some of those myths about ADHD. As usual, if you've enjoyed this episode of the podcast, Jesus, you need a new hobby. I mean, actually, if you've got ADHD, you've probably already got 3 new hobbies which you picked up in the last week.
Don't need a new hobby.
Yeah, exactly. But again, we are a charity, and we are hoping soon to start doing more charitable work. So if you want to support the show on the link provided, again, otherwise Alex is going to have to carry on being a stunt double for Frank Sidebottom. A lot of people won't get that gag. But if you want to get in touch to talk about Alex being a stunt double for Frank Sidebottom, please do. Just to give you a reminder, we have an online community using the app Discord. There is a link to it in the bio on Instagram, and Alex will pin a tweet. Has pinned a tweet. Clip view behind the curtain then of how we record these episodes on Twitter. Please join in. It's helping so many people, particularly if you feel isolated. If you haven't got a group of mates or family who are ADHD, and there's channels there for different areas of the country. It's just an amazing place, largely because I set it up.
No, it's really good. We love it.
So obviously get in touch on the socials if you want to. Till next time, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye all.
Trigger warning klaxon, 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 big klaxon. Trigger warning klaxon, 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 klaxon.